week good, Jamie? All right. Jeez, things are falling apart. This time I'll call our council meeting to order September 26, 2023. Jamie, could you please read the sunshine statement and call the roll?
Be advised that proper notice has been given by the Township Council in accordance with the Sunshine Law in the following manner. Notice advertised in the Burlington County Times and Camden Courier Post on January 6, 2023, and posted on the bulletin board on the same date. Mrs. DePiadu?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Jenny?
Here.
Mr. Lyon?
Here.
Mr. Burrell?
Here. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate it. First up, I'm going to turn it over to our mayor to read a proclamation, Knockout Opioid Abuse Day, which is upcoming for October 6th.
Thank you, Council President. I will spare all the whereases and therefores and just say that right now, as we're in the midst of a life-threatening opioid abuse epidemic, with a partnership with Drug Free New Jersey and Knockout Opioid Abuse, we are proclaiming that today, September 26, 2023, on behalf of the entire council and the citizens we serve, that we recognize October 6th, 2023 as Knockout Opioid Abuse Day in the Township of Delran. We'll be forwarding this to the organization, and it's great to have the support of the police department and all of the folks in the State Senate and General Assembly.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Next up is our work session, which is fairly short for tonight, and the most thrilling topic of our tenure, changes to the MS4 storm drainage requirements. So I'm going to turn it over to Joe Bellina or Ed, our engineer. Ed. Ed, give us some exciting information.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
So, all right, thank you, Council President. So just to give a brief overview, I'll keep this as short as possible. Generally speaking, you have a chart in front of you that spells out the changes for the Township of Delran is already an existing Tier A community, and it spells out the changes as part of the updated MS4 permit program that the township needs to undertake in order to be in compliance. Now, I'll highlight a couple of these just so you're well aware. There are going to be costs, some may be significant changes coming along, specifically street sweeping. The effective permit date was January 1 of this year, so plus 36 months. So by January 1, 2026, the township will need to have the triannual street sweeping for certain roads that have discharge of surface water, whether that be via inlet, ditches, et cetera. Mainly in town, you're going to have inlets. And then for roads that do not fall into that criteria, you'll have to sweep it once a year. Generally speaking, you're not sweeping that often from that standpoint. But I would say the biggest change that I actually want to highlight, and bear with me as I look forward on this chart, is going to be the mapping that the township needs to complete. So let's see, MS4 mapping. So the township needs to, it's on the last page, actually. Sorry, it's the top one on the last page. I apologize. So the development, updating, and maintenance of a MS4 infrastructure map. So essentially, you need to locate all of the inlet structures within the municipality and have it on a GIS map. It needs to be reviewed annually, posted on the municipal website, and updated as you do improvements, and then ultimately submitted to the state for their own records. So this is going to require all of them to be located, put on the maps, information provided, which is it's a significant undertaking. I've met with the administrator, Joe Bellina, and Brian Mullen, the superintendent, to brief them on this. But there's a significant amount of work ahead.
You do that? Does your office do that?
We can assist, yes. So, and then one of the other things that I am going to touch upon tonight, because it's something that needs to be completed as part of the MS4 permit itself, is there are videos that the governing body, the associated boards, and the township employees need to watch. So I have provided those videos to Joe, which we can end up circulating to the appropriate parties. And you
Training
need to s-
videos? What type of
Yes,
videos?
and you need to, that was a previous condition. It's just a continuous operation there. And you'll need to submit documentation as part of the MS4 compliance that needs to be submitted every year that you've watched said videos.
Okay.
So, does anybody have any questions?
You have any questions? No, this is something you and between Public Works, your CME and Joe, you guys will have this all buttoned up, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
thank you.
Joe, anything else with that, or are you good?
All good, Mr. President.
Thank you. So next up is items in our consent agenda. Does council have any objections to those items? I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion. I'll second.
Jamie, could you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Apiadu?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Jenny?
Aye.
Mr. Lyon?
Aye.
Mr. Burrell?
Aye. The ayes have it. Motion carries. The consent agenda is adopted. The resolutions and motions within. Next up is our reports. And first up, from our emergency services, we have Joe Parento here, our fire commissioner. Joe, good to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
You got some good news for us?
Yeah,
Said you broke my microphone.
broke the microphone. Got to get a new microphone now. Y'all, thank you very much for having me.
Fire district.
Excuse me?
Charge that to the fire district.
Might as well. I'll sign the check. So, here, you guys know me. I'm Joe Parano, I'm president of the Fire Commissioners right down the hallway. When I was chairman of the RAC, we had a veterans dinner several times. And this year, we were planning on having another veterans dinner for the veterans of the township of Burlington County. We invite everybody in Burlington County that's a veteran. We send a mass email out, we send the letters out, we post them on the sign. So this year, I contacted Patty Colodi, who was on the board, and Eva Johnson, who was on the chairman also with us. I told Councilman Lynn Jennings, we're going to work with him because you guys were going to plan on having something, I guess, on Veterans Day. He was mentioned maybe. So we just want to try to get the dinner rolling again for the veterans. So we plan on, as a commissioner, paying for it. So we're going to use the room in the back that we did.
Community room.
The community room, the whole
Right.
community room. So we'll have it catered, have a meal and all come in and then advertise it. So it'll be November 8th, Wednesday, November 8th. So if you guys can mark that down on your calendar, so you can, want to welcome to attend, we'd like to have you.
Okay.
So it'd be nice. And like I told Councilman Jenny, we'll keep in touch with the meetings and stuff, so that way we can work together. So if you guys plan on doing something, we'll gladly support you guys too. So, and getting it done. So,
Great.
okay.
Glad to get it back up and running.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
I got another meeting.
Enjoy. Next up is from Township Administrator Joe Belina. Joe,
No report, Mr. President.
thank you. Next up is our Township Clerk, Jamie Eggers.
No report.
Thank you. Next up is our Mayor, Mayor Katchenberg.
Thank you, Council President. Just two items. One, for those folks that didn't see or weren't here in the building, I'd like to just congratulate the Delran Historical Society, who just opened up their display in our lobby here in the Township Building. From the very beginning in the 2008, 2009 timeframe, we were excited to help form this group of involved citizens. Some have come and gone, but I applaud the progress that they have made and continue to make. I encourage anyone who is not here in the Township Building tonight to come and view the first of many displays that they have planned. It's great to see some of the history from right here in our town. And finally, I am sad to report that former Councilman Mike Schwartz has passed away at the age of 54 years old. Mike served Ward 1 for several years, and while we sometimes had differing opinions on some issues, we remained professional and worked really well together. So our condolences go out to his wife and children, and that's my report.
Thank you very much. Next up from our Solicitor's Office. Great, thank you. And from our engineer's office, CME Associates, Ed Doriento.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a brief update on both the road program at Brown Street. So I'll start with Brown Street. They broke ground last week on the project. They're in the process of clearing the existing infield and existing topsoil, which some of the material will be reutilized where feasible. And they will be starting installation of the fence posts in the coming weeks. So you should see the start of work that is going to be the final product within the next couple of weeks.
Great.
As for the road program, the contractor is progressing along. They are nearly done with the concrete improvements, albeit there are a few items that we need to coordinate with utilities on. They are tentatively scheduled to begin milling and paving operations around the third week of October. So the residents will be notified again of when this work will be taking place. That is my report.
Great. Thanks, Ed, for staying on top of that. Next up is reports from members of council. First up is Nikki Apiedo.
No report at this time. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Next up is Councilman Marlo Smith. Councilman?
Yeah, just a couple quick items tonight. Again, wanted to thank the Delran Historical Society, and I would invite all the residents to come down and take a look at the wonderful display that's here at the municipal building. A lot of hard work, a lot of years of effort have gone into planning and making this a reality. So just wanted to thank all the volunteers. And secondly, I would just also like to echo the mayor in the prayers for the Schwartz family. 54 is very young. And just, I know that that's got to be tough for their families. So just keep them in their thoughts and your prayers. And lastly, we are moved into fall. We are losing daylight. So I noticed today with all the rain, there was a lot of leaves that were out in the streets, and just wanted to remind residents to be careful with the change of the season. Now that we're having more leaves fall, be careful as you're stopping, especially when we're approaching, intersections, because potentially you could slide if there's wet leaves out there. So just be careful as you're traveling around, and that's the end of my report.
Great, thank you, Councilman. Next up is Councilman Lynn Jenny. Councilman?
Thank you, Council President. Also, condolences to the Schwartz family. One thing I wanted to mention was that along with the proclamation that the mayor has read, reminder that our police department, very active in our community, have a straight to treatment program. And straight to treatment, I think it's 2 Fridays a month. Every Friday? Every Friday, you can walk in, indicate you have a drug problem or some type of problem, and they will arrange treatment immediately without any questions or without any retribution. So if you feel you have a need Friday, you can come into the police department, tell them that you're there to talk about straight to treatment, and they will care for you. Also, congratulations to the Historical Society. Just another great example of active members of our community doing things for other members of our community. There are a lot of people who are very active in our community. I congratulate them, and I do invite everyone to come and see the wonderful display that they prepared. That's my report, Council President. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next up is our Vice President, Mr. Tom Lyon.
Thank you, Council President. Condolences to the Schwartz family. Like to echo the congratulations to the Historical Society on their efforts. Looks really nice out there. And just a hats off to all the volunteers in town for all our programs. They do it without pay to make Delran a better place. So we do appreciate that. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. For my report, also want to send our thoughts and prayers to Councilman Schwartz and his family through this tough time. I served with him for a short period of time, so I know he's got a lot of family here in town. He's not in town. Fortunately, he moved down south, but we do send our thoughts and prayers with his family. And I want to congratulate the Historical Society. I know it's been a long time coming for them, and they're just as excited as we are. I'm glad we could help play a very small part in that, but as Vice President said, it really turns on the backs of the volunteers, not just at the Historical Society, but the REC, the Green Team, all the organizations, the AA, you can name them, and all these people do the work they do for no money, often get ridiculed for it, but they do it because they love the community, and that's really how communities work when we all work together. So just want to thank all the volunteers who make things happen around here. So with that, that concludes our report, so I'll entertain public comment. So I'll ask for a motion to open the floor.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Our floor is now open to public comment. If you have a comment, wish to speak, please raise your hand. You will be recognized. At that time, I ask you please state your name and address. You can approach the podium. You'll have 5 minutes of time, and all statements are part of the record and cannot be redacted or retracted after the fact. So any comments from the public? Ms. Rep.
Hello, Jen Rappert, Delran. I just have two questions regarding the agenda. So like you talk about this annual audit, governing body certification of audit. So it says it's filed by a registered municipal accountant. Like, who is that?
Yeah, we have an accountant, an auditor who does it's Bowman and Associates. I didn't know it was Associates at the end. Bowman Associates. He's been our auditor longer than I've been here. And they meet with, there's actually an exit interview that the mayor's there. I'm normally there this year. Lynn went in my place and he meets with staff and the administration, goes over the audit, and then members of the governing body review the audit, and then we certify it that we've read it.
So what things are audited?
All of our financials, they're all, you can find all of the audits on our website.
All right,
Yeah, it's a part of every township does.
all right, I figured that.
Yep. And there was, Jamie, no findings, no significant findings?
No, there were no findings this year, and the audit will be posted tomorrow on the township website.
Thank you, I appreciate that. My second question, this Class 5 cannabis retail license, what is a Class 5 license?
This is sales, correct?
Retail.
Retail, yeah. It's the retail one, and they're still working, so we're extending their license.
To the end of the year.
Right, so it says support, so is that financial support, or like what's
Not at all.
support?
The way the regulations are written, it's kind of convoluted. They need a supporting resolution from the township, which we did, and then they go take that resolution along with a lot of other paperwork to the state and ask for the license. So this is merely us saying, we're supporting you if you get the license. So they have to get the license and do all the work with the state.
So that's my other question, so is there a limit of licenses that Delran's
There
going to?
is, yes.
How
I think
many?
it's 4 or 5, correct?
That's a lot for this
4.
small town.
4.
Yeah, but to sell marijuana, that's like having like a bar on every corner sort of mentality.
Yeah,
I think it is, I mean, just one would be suffice, so I'm just wondering how much money the township gets for that.
I think we can tax up to 10%, if I'm not mistaken, is the last thing.
I think it was 2 that you set it for. But just.
No, it's not 10, it is 2, yeah.
But just to keep it in perspective, yeah, we heard one month recently at a similar place within the county, the establishment netted $2 million of revenue in a month. So, and some of that goes back to the town.
So that means our taxes will go down? I'm not trying to be fresh, I'm just saying,
so, I mean,
if we're bringing in, to me, it's like kind of an immoral sort of thing, more pot. Everyone's high today, everywhere we go. I smell it at shop, right on the river line, whatever, I know it's legal, but,
Unfortunately, it's been, yeah.
I understand that.
74% of residents approved. Gary has that number right. It was
but there's no point on
74%.
like just making it more in
Right.
your face, that's
Yeah,
all I'm
oh,
saying.
I get that.
And I'm thinking about the
completely.
kids, that's all, the young people.
I get
We don't
that
want everybody
completely.
stoned walking around, having no
I don't
clue what's
disagree.
going on. That's, to me, the way I view it. And
I don't disagree, but part of the reason we did what we did was as a tax revenue generation, right? And that money is going to go back into the township, and we can keep taxes stable or reduce taxes if possible, depending on how much money we get. But there's towns, Edgewater Park is probably one of the earliest adopters, and they pay, I don't know the exact number, but I was talking to their BA, they make a very large sum of money off tax revenues that they use for fields and that they use for other things that they don't
Yeah.
have to go to you for anymore. 'Cause
I
they're-
understand, and I don't care about that,
So,
because it's a
that's our
moral
objective.
issue, more importantly, of this
Yeah.
has always been, again, raised in Cinnamints and Delran and their sister towns, so these have always been very squared away towns where they're good quality people, good quality families. I don't want to see this start to slip out. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm speaking out, and it's my duty to do that for the town.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Great,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
that. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. Good to see you. Any other public comment? Yes.
Hi, all. How you doing?
Hello, just your name and address for the record, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
My name is Linda. I'm at 115 Natalie in the Garden Club.
I'm sorry, your name?
Linda.
Linda, okay. Do you have a last name?
Well, it's Lynda, Lyons.
Thank you.
You are welcome. So I'm curious about who monitors the affordable housing units that are here and any subsequential damage that has occurred to other residents. I'm specifically referring to Unit 123 that is now unoccupied.
What's the street?
Natalie?
Natalie, okay, yeah.
I've actually been trying to
That's on.
get with you, Mr. Bellini, through your gatekeeper, and she's awesome at what she does.
She is.
I respect that. I'm one of those myself. So, the first incident occurred back in July of 2020. It was not owner occupied at the time. The owner's adult child and her subsequent partner and children were there. Anyway, long story short, she didn't take any responsibility or accountability, and I had a big water claim, as well as the neighbor in between us. Fast forward to January of this year, I have another water issue that's coming through, and this is from the washing machine. They confirmed it. They finally get a plumber out there to do an inspection and assessment and verified that water was coming into my unit when they ran their washing machine. The owner tells the property manager of the association that she fixed it, and all they did was stop using it, and then they moved out. So my big concern is before somebody else moves into that unit, who makes sure that there's no issues that are going to affect the people below them?
Yeah. Joe, do we have?
Please.
There will be an inspection done on that for repairs that would have to be made, probably through the inspections office.
And when they
But-
make those inspections, will they notify the residents below so that we can be
No,
there?
no, this will
So
be
then you're not
strictly
going
with
to
the
see
owner.
anything.
But I know there was a legal issue that are.
Yeah, that's another issue. I'm aware, quasi-aware that there's that as well, and I
So
respect that.
leave me with your phone number at the end of the night,
Yes, sir.
okay? And then let me speak with him tomorrow or whenever I get him. And I'll
All right,
get
because I
right back
still
to
have
you.
a hole that I'm waiting to close up, so I don't have to do it again
Yeah,
for a
that's-
third
right.
time.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're dealing with this.
With all due respect, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, the
I can
whole
see why.
living arrangement upstairs was
Oh, a
Was
hot
less
mess.
than-
Yeah, I mean, but anyway.
less than par.
All right, that was me. Thank you.
So, Joe will hook up with
Thank
you
you,
after the
Linda.
meeting, and then hopefully we'll
I
get something
appreciate it.
resolved, okay?
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the floor.
Motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries, our floor is closed. Sharon, do you have something? No. Okay, heard something. Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?